The sky over Washington, D.C. turned silver. It wasn't a cloud, and it wasn't a storm. It was a ship. A single alien ship, massive and silent, floating just above the White House. It didn't fire a weapon. It didn't broadcast a threat. It simply hovered and waited. Panic spread across the planet in minutes. Every TV, phone, and computer screen lit up with the same message translated in over 100 languages. Send me your strongest warrior, or surrender your world. The message was signed, Zurok of the Qatari Dominion. No one had ever heard of the Qatari before. No probes had detected them. No warnings. They just appeared suddenly, boldly, as if they owned the galaxy. Inside a secret command bunker beneath the Pentagon, world leaders sat in silence. Presidents, generals, intelligence, chiefs. No one spoke. No one dared. General Rourke slammed his fist on the table. Is this a joke? A single alien walks into our atmosphere, and we're being asked to send a gladiator? It's not a joke, replied Director Choi, head of Earth's deep space surveillance. The energy signature of that ship is unlike anything we've seen. If they wanted to destroy us, they could have instantly. A video played on the screen. It showed Zurok standing over the body of a 12-foot armored alien, his claws dripping with purple blood. He had killed it with his bare hands. The footage ended with Zurok speaking to the camera. I seek challenge, not slaughter. One warrior, your best. Prove your species has strength. Or kneel. No one volunteered. No soldier, no supercomputer designed combat drone, no enhanced operative. The stakes were too high. Humanity had no second chance if it failed, until a voice spoke from the back of the room. I'll do it. Everyone turned. It was a man in a faded black coat. He wore no medals. His face was sharp but calm, with short dark hair and eyes that didn't blink. He looked like a civilian, but moved like a soldier. General Rourke narrowed his eyes. Who are you? The man stepped forward. Colonel Elias Crane, retired, Special Forces. Ghost Unit. Director Choi blinked. Ghost Unit was disbanded 10 years ago. Elias smiled. I know. I was the last one. No one in the room argued. Something about Elias made them feel like children again. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't brag. But when he spoke, even the room fell still. The dual ground, 20 hours later. Elias stood in an open field in Utah. The alien ship hovered above like a giant moon, casting a long shadow. Cameras flew around them, capturing every moment. The world watched in silence. Then Zurok arrived. He descended from the ship in golden armor, holding no weapon. He was nearly 8 feet tall, muscles rippling, skin like obsidian stone. His eyes glowed yellow. Elias, by contrast, wore a simple combat uniform. No armor, no gadgets, just gloves and boots. Zurok laughed. This is your champion? He's small, Elias shrugged. So is a bullet. Zurok grinned, amused. Let's see if you hit like one. The duel began. Round 1. Zurok struck first. A blur of motion. His fist cracked the ground where Elias had stood a moment before. Dust flew. The shockwave broke a nearby rock into pieces, but Elias wasn't there. He had rolled to the side, fast and low. He kicked Zurok's leg, not to damage, but to test. The alien barely moved. Elias knew. Strength wouldn't win. Strategy might. He danced around the Qatari warlord, using footwork and timing like a boxer fighting a giant. He landed jabs, elbows, short bursts of violence. Zurok didn't bleed. But he noticed. You move well, Zurok growled. You're slow. Elias replied. Round 2. Zurok roared and charged. The ground trembled. He grabbed Elias and threw him across the field. Cameras followed Elias's body flying over 50 feet. Before slamming into a boulder, people screamed. But Elias stood again. Blood ran down his arm. He wiped it, then smiled. Didn't hurt, he lied. Zurok was impressed. You have heart. That's rare in prey. Elias cracked his neck. And? You talk too much. He rushed forward, sliding under Zurok's guard and hitting pressure points near the alien's ribs and neck. It didn't stop Zurok, but it slowed him. For a second, Zurok winced. Elias saw it. Flashback. Who is Elias Crane? As the world watched, reporters began digging into Elias Crane's past. He had no public records after age 28. But whispers surfaced. Rumors of a secret mission in Siberia. A nuclear bunker taken over by a rogue AI. Elias had gone in alone. The AI never came back. Online, Elias did. Others said he had been deployed during the Arctic blackout, when 5 nations lost power for 3 days. The files were still sealed. Now the same man was facing a warlord from the stars, and making him struggle. Round 3, Zurok attacked again, angrier. He lifted a boulder and threw it. Elias dodged barely. But the distraction worked. Zurok closed in and slammed a knee into Elias's chest. Bones cracked. Elias coughed. Blood. Then he smiled. You're finally trying. Zurok blinked. Why was this human not afraid? Elias dropped to one knee but pressed a small device on his belt. A pulse fired into the sky. Unknown to the alien, Elias had scanned him during the fight. Thanks for letting me study you, Elias whispered. Now I know where to hit. Zurok didn't understand until Elias jumped and slammed his elbow into a spot just beneath the alien's chin. Loud crack echoed. Zurok staggered. The alien touched his neck and saw blood. Shock around the world for the first time. Zurok had bled in combat. Aliens in his ship watched in stunned silence. People on Earth cheered. Elias didn't celebrate. He stood straight, barely breathing. This fight is over, he said. You lost, Zurok roared. This wasn't the war. This was a test. He turned toward the sky. His voice carried across Earth's frequencies. You wanted peace. You brought a soldier. Now you face our armies. The sky opened. Dozens of alien ships appeared in orbit. The invasion had begun. Final scene, as panic spread. Elias calmly walked to the nearest camera drone and spoke to the world. My name is Colonel Elias Crane. I faced the challenge and survived. He pointed to the alien fleet above. Now we fight. And I'm not done yet. Fade out. Zurok's blood dripped onto the dry Utah dirt. For the first time in over 100 battles across 10 planets, the Kamtari warlord had bled. Not from a bomb, not from a beam, but from the elbow of a human. Colonel Elias Crane stood tall, chest rising and falling. His uniform was torn, ribs cracked, blood on his lips. But his eyes, they were calm, watching, measuring. Zurok growled low. No one makes me bleed. Elias didn't answer. He didn't need to dot above the Earth on board the command ship Dominion's Fist. Qatari officers stared in silence. General Vark hissed. He hurt the warlord. High Priestess Scala replied. Not just hurt. He made Zurok look weak. They knew what would happen now. Not by law, but by tradition. A Qatari warlord who bleeds must conquer or die in shame. The world reacts across Earth. Celebrations had started. People clapped, cried, cheered. In streets, in bunkers, in silent bedrooms. For one moment, humans believed, but the moment was short, because the sky changed. Massive alien ships began to appear, dozens, maybe hundreds, rising from hidden folds in space. They weren't glowing silver like Zurok's, these were black. Angular, meant for war. In space, thousands of Qatari troops moved into attack formations. Earth's defense satellites picked them up. Alarms screamed in command centers. Radar screens filled with red dots. General Rourke stared at the monitor and whispered, "We're not ready." Back on the ground, Zurok's breathing grew heavy. He stepped closer to Elias. "I challenged you. You struck with skill that I respect." Elias tilted his head. But Zuruk's eyes burned. But now you've shamed me. And for that, I must burn your world. Elias didn't flinch. Burn it, and we'll burn back. Zuruk grinned. That's what I want. Without warning, he slammed his fist into the ground. A shockwave spread outward, cracking the earth in a 10-foot circle. Dust flew. Elias jumped back. Zuruk didn't attack again. Instead, he looked up. A beam of light pulled him back into his ship. Seconds later, the alien ships above Earth began to move. The disappearance Elias was rushed into a mobile command van. Doctors tried to treat him, but he pushed them away. No time. They're coming. Director Choi connected to all major leaders via holocall. Colonel Crane, what's the enemy's goal? Elias answered calmly. To prove they're stronger. This isn't conquest, it's pride. He wants Earth to kneel. Or fight like animals. President Mendez asked. Can we negotiate? Elias shook his head. You humiliated him. He can't go home unless we're destroyed or broken. General Rourke leaned in. Then we fight, but when Elias turned, he was already walking away. Where are you going? Choi called out. Elias answered without stopping. I have a plan, but I can't do it from here. On board Dominion's Zuruk sat in silence. His lieutenants stood around him, waiting for orders. High Priestess Asa entered the chamber. The human was not expected to survive, Zuruk growled. He did more than survive. She nodded. The soldiers want to see blood. I will give them war. But not just war, she said carefully. Victory. Your command is under question. Some say you should have killed him immediately. Zuruk rose. I will kill him when the time is right. His claws flexed. I want him to see his planet fall before I crush his skull. Earth prepares the United Nations activated Project Iron Wall, the secret last resort plan for global invasion. Space cannons, underwater missile launchers, old Cold War orbital weapons all turned toward the sky. But everyone knew it wouldn't be enough. Elias knew it too. He had vanished from military radar. No one could track him, but in a remote desert, a drone captured a video of him walking toward a rusted door half buried in rock. He entered an old bunker. Locked it from inside. It was his old unit's final base. Inside were maps, weapons, files, and something no one else had access to, alien tech. 10 years ago. Flashback. Elias sat in a Siberian cave, bleeding and alone. He had just shut down a rogue AI that tried to launch nuclear missiles across 3 continents. While escaping, he had found a strange pod buried in the ice, Qatari symbols glowing faintly. It had crashed there decades ago. Elias took everything from it, studied it, hid it. No one knew. Now he opened the old case. Inside, a pulse rifle. A Qatari translator, a weak warp core shard. He smiled. Let's upgrade. The fight begins on day 1. The Qatari launched small attacks targeting defense satellites and major communications hubs. London, New York, Beijing each went dark for 6 minutes. Panic set in, but Earth fought back. Stealth jets intercepted small scout ships. Anti-air batteries lit up the sky. Still, the real fleet had not yet moved. They were waiting for the warlord's signal. Zuruk's rage inside his ship. Zuruk trained alone. He struck metal walls with his fists until they dented. He tore apart robotic sparring units, but it wasn't enough. He couldn't erase Elias's face from his mind. That calm. That control. It was worse than hate. It was disrespect. Elias returns after 4 days of silence. Elias stepped back into command. But now he wore something new. A modified battlesuit, part human, part alien. His left arm held a shield made of reflective, Qatari metal. His visor glowed. He entered the Pentagon calmly and tossed a data chip onto the table. Battle maps. Ship specs. Command hierarchy. General Rourke blinked. Where the hell did you get this? I borrowed it. Choi stared. You broke into a Qatari system? Elias nodded. No, I let them try to kill me and traced the attack signal back. President Mendez leaned forward. What do we do now? Elias looked up. We hit them before they hit us. The new plan. Elias outlined his idea. Use stolen Qatari warp signal to jam their fleet's timing. Strike their command ship with Earth's only stealth-capable space shuttle. Distract the rest of the fleet using decoy transmissions and fake power surges. Disable the gravity well they use to hover, forcing them into Earth's atmosphere where they're more vulnerable. Everyone listened in silence. General Rourke finally spoke. That's suicide, Elias smiled. Not if I go alone. Zurach's message on Earth's public network. Zurach appeared again. He stood in front of his army and said only 3 words. Kneel or burn. Then he waited. No reply came, not from Earth's leaders, but from Elias. He appeared on a hacked Qatari broadcast and looked directly into Zurach's eyes. You wanted a fight. Now you've got a war. Final scenic. Zurach, breathing heavily, stood in his war chamber. He turned to his generals. Begin the final descent. Earth dies now. But outside the window something moved. A single Earth shuttle, black, silent, fast, was already heading straight for their command deck. Elias was coming. And this time, he wasn't just studying, he was hunting. The black Earth shuttle moved silently through space. No engines roared. No lights flashed. It looked empty, but inside, one man sat alone. Colonel Elias Crane, strapped into the pilot's chair. He stared straight ahead. His face was calm, but every muscle in his body was tense. His fingers hovered over controls that Earth scientists barely understood. Alien tech glowed beneath his hands. He wasn't flying this shuttle. He was guiding it. He had hacked the Qatari's own navigation system and used it to hide in plain sight. Above him, the Qatari fleet floated like a sea of giants, dark and ready. None of them saw Elias coming. Not yet. Back on Earth in an underground war room beneath Berlin, Earth's top military minds were watching. A giant screen showed the shuttles. Position. Dots representing alien warships moved all around it. General Rourke paced. He's inside their formation. How is that even possible? Director Choi replied. He fused human stealth tech with Qatari codes. It's not perfect, but it's enough to get him close. President Mendez asked the only question that mattered. Will he make it? No one answered. Inside the shuttle, Elias opened a sealed case. Inside were 3 items. A modified pulse rifle with Earth-made stabilizers, a small gravity disruptor bomb, and a handwritten photo of a young boy. He looked at the photo for a moment. His thumb traced the corner. Then he tucked it into his vest. He didn't need motivation. He already had it. He looked up at the viewport. The Qatari command ship Dominion's fist was ahead. It was massive, the size of a city, with spiked towers and red energy glowing around its core. At its center was the war room. And inside that room was Zurach. Aboard Dominion's fist, Zurach stood before a giant holomap of Earth. His generals waited for his command. Begin orbital strike in 6 cycles, he said. The plan was simple. Bombard key cities, cripple Earth's defense systems, and then deploy ground forces to clean up. But something pulled at him, a feeling. He turned toward the view window. And for a split second, he saw it. A black object. Fast, low, and wrong. His eyes narrowed. Raise shields, he ordered, but it was too late. Elias strikes. The black shuttle turned, engines roaring for the first time. It shot forward straight toward Dominion's fist. Alarms blared on the alien ship. Turrets rotated. Cannons locked on. But Elias had already fired. 2 electromagnetic bombs hit the outer shield. They didn't destroy it, but they unbalanced it. That was enough. The shuttle pierced through, ripping into the outer hull. Metal screamed. Flames burst. Inside, Qatari guards scrambled, and Elias walked out of the smoking wreckage like a ghost. From a nightmare, corridor chaos, the ship's hallways twisted like a maze. Elias moved fast, using Kateri map data he had memorized. Guards charged him roaring, armored, furious. He didn't stop. The pulse rifle barked blue bolts, slamming into alien chests. Explosions lit the walls. He used cover, moved low, aimed. Fast, a group of soldiers tried to flank him. He rolled a gravity disruptor at their feet. They floated, then slammed into the ceiling. Like broken toys. He kept going. Zurak reacts. The warlord watched from a high tower. Who is it? A general asked. Zurak already knew. Elias Crane. The name tasted like fire in his mouth. Seal the war room. He wants me? Let him come. Meanwhile on Earth's command team saw the first explosions. We have entry confirmation. Choi reported. He's inside the command ship. The room erupted in cautious hope. Rourke leaned in. What's the plan once he reaches the war room? Choi replied. We don't know. He didn't tell us. Mendez whispered. Because he doesn't plan on coming back. Elias pushes forward as Elias ran. He planted small charges behind him. If he failed, they would still cause chaos inside the Qatari fleet. His suit warned him, energy low. He kept going. He entered the core bridge tunnel. It was quiet. No guards. Too quiet. He stepped forward, and the floor exploded beneath him. The Tropelius fell 20 feet and landed hard in a circular chamber. A force field snapped on. Across the room. Door opened. And Zurak walked in. No armor. No weapons. Just rage. I knew you'd come, the warlord said. Elias stood brushing dust off. You're predictable. Zurak laughed, low and cold. You're brave. I'll carve that onto your tomb. Elias dropped the pulse rifle. No weapons. Zurak blinked. I want you to feel this. Elias said. The final duel begins. They charged. Fists met fists. Bones cracked. Growls echoed. Elias moved fast, dodging, striking, aiming for weak points. Zurak was stronger. He tossed Elias across the room, but Elias rolled, kicked up and struck Zurak's knee. The warlord roared. You think you can win? I already did, Elias said. He pointed upward. A red light blinked in the corner, a signal beacon. Back on. Earth Director Choi shouted. We have the signal. Target locked, Rourke turned. Fire the Skyhammer. In orbit, an Earth satellite turned and launched a thin, silent missile. It raced toward Dominion's fist. The final blow inside the war room. Zurak laughed, unaware. You're out of time, Elias whispered. So are you. He tackled Zurak and pressed a small beacon against his chest. Then he kicked off and ran. The ceiling cracked. Light burst. The missile hit. Fire swallowed everything. Silence. Qatari command ship Dominion's fist erupted in a controlled explosion. Not full destruction, but enough to sever command. Enough to shake the fleet. Enough to make the Qatari pause. On Earth, people watched as the giant alien ship tilted. Then stopped moving. No more orders. No more threats. Just silence. Did he survive? No signal came from Elias. No escape pod. No transmission. Just silence. President Mendez spoke to the world. Colonel Elias Crane gave us time. He gave us a chance. Now it's up to us. But even as they mourned, somewhere in the debris of the alien ship, a small emergency pod drifted into shadow, its beacon blinking once. Then twice. Final scene. On a distant Qatari ship, a young warrior watched the footage. He turned to his commander. The human fought alone, and he won. The commander didn't speak. He just nodded. Across the galaxy, Qatari generals began to send a silent signal to each other. Retreat, regroup, recalculate. Earth had changed everything, because one human didn't. Wait for war to arrive. He took the first strike. The battlefield was space. The dead floated silently, alien bodies drifting like broken machines, sparks trailing behind them. Dominion's fist, the Qatari command ship, was now a lifeless hulk. Its core flickered weakly. Its guns silent. Its orders ... stop ... and yet, Elias Crane was nowhere to be found. Aboard Earth Command General Rourke stood in front of the giant tactical screen. No movement from the Qatari command ship. All signals lost. Director Choi added, still. No word from Colonel Crane. His beacon stopped 2 minutes ago. President Mendez lowered her head. So we lost him. No, Choi whispered, almost to herself. We bought time. And they had. With the Qatari fleet leaderless, Earth's defenses began to punch back. Fighter drones, orbital cannons, and hidden railguns came alive. Earth didn't wait anymore. It attacked. Inside. A wrecked pod somewhere inside the dead zone of space, in the debris cloud near Dominion's fist. A small black pod floated. Its hull was scorched. Its oxygen was low. Inside. Elias Crane coughed and opened one eye. Pain flooded through him. His ribs screamed. His shoulder was out of place. His leg was trapped under a broken seat panel. But he was alive. And he was angry. He punched the emergency controls and rerouted power. System. Minimal function restored. He spoke through cracked lips. Broadcast. Emergency code. Ghost echo. Earth's. Secret signal inside a hidden server vault in Alaska. Red lights flashed. Incoming signal. Ghost ECHO code Balaka I system known as Farsight activated. It scanned the signal, confirmed identity. Colonel Elias Crane. Instant alert sent to Earth. High Command. Director Choi's screen blinked. Elias alive. Pod ID 709. Rourke grinned. We're not done yet. Meanwhile, the Qatari react with their command ship disabled. Confusion spread across the Qatari fleet. Captain Rax of the Skullflame demanded orders, but got only static. Squads reported rogue Earth attacks. One warship was down. Another had retreated into orbit. A message arrived. Warlord Zurak presumed dead. Some cheered. Others panicked. A new voice came over the fleet comms. High Priestess Iskala. Hold position. Earth thinks this is victory. We will turn it into fire. But even she sounded unsure. Zurak had been the blade. She was just the memory. Elias. Breaks in Elias's pod didn't return to Earth. Instead. He overrode its course. He wasn't finished. He drifted toward the Qatari carrier Arc-7, a ship known for controlling long-range attack drones and tracking Earth targets. Inside the pod, he patched wires, used scraps to power his rifle, and tightened a splint around his broken leg. He coughed once, wiped blood from his mouth, and whispered, "Let's keep going." Arc-7. The Ghost arrives on board Arc-7. Qatari technician soldiers were monitoring battlefield data. One turned. Unidentified object approaching. Another replied, "Too small, not a threat." But the object accelerated. Then it slammed into the docking port. The wall exploded. A single figure stepped through smoke. Elias Crane, bleeding, limping, armed. "Hey," he said. Then he fired. One man versus a ship. The Qatari panicked. Elias shot with perfect accuracy headshots. Shoulder hits, double taps, when the rifle's power. Pack died. He grabbed a fallen alien blade and kept moving. He stabbed, dodged, hid in smoke. He used corridors like traps. He sealed blast doors behind him. He overloaded the power core on their navigation deck. The ship turned into a maze of fire. Elias reached the main data terminal. He plugged in a stolen uplink from Dominion's fist. And uploaded everything to Earth. Blueprints, ship weaknesses, fleet movement patterns. He didn't just attack. He stole the whole war. Earth responds. The data reached Earth Command. Rourke shouted, "We have their navigation keys. They can't warp without this." Choi was already sending the data to every resistance base on the planet. Missiles launched. Hacked systems overloaded alien targeting. Drones disabled entire enemy scanners. Earth had become something else now. Not prey, but predator. Elias's escape. Elias knew the ship would explode soon. Fire spread through the ventilation. Explosions rocked the walls. He ran. He reached the emergency escape pod and smashed the door. But it was locked. He grabbed the nearest body, pulled a clearance tag from its chest armor, and slapped it onto the door. Got green light. The pod opened. He fell in and hit launch. Seconds later, Arc 7 exploded behind him. Meanwhile, Izgala's desperations, watched as Earth's forces, once scattered, began coordinating attacks. They used the Qatari own systems against them. She slammed her fist on the command panel. Who is doing this? A voice crackled across her comms. A human voice. Elias Crane, I am. A new human weapon. Elias's message wasn't just taunt. It was a trigger. Across Earth's military zones, sleeper weapons activated cloaked units planted by Elias years ago. Hidden satellites. Drone mines. Deep-sea turrets. They all went active. And struck. The Qatari fleet, still without a unified leader. Fractured. 5 ships fled. 3 more exploded in orbit. Back on Earth, crowds watched the sky as alien ships began to fall. First time since this started, humanity believed not just in survival, but in victory. Elias's name spread everywhere. Children shouted it in the streets. Soldiers painted it on tanks. Hackers coded it into enemy transmissions. Crane lives inside. Elias's men in the pod. Elias closed his eyes. Blood loss made things blurry. Memories surfaced. His first mission. His lost team. The reason he joined. Ghost Unit. A promise to his son long dead in a Qatari raid no one had known about. Until now, that was the real reason he fought. Not just for Earth. But for payback. Final strike. The pod approached Earth's atmosphere. It burned. Shields flickered. Elias whispered, "One more time." At the last moment, parachutes deployed. The pod slammed into a desert outside. Cairo. Earth Command rushed in. Soldiers opened the hatch. Elias was unconscious, but alive, and in his hand was the uplink, still clutched. Never dropped. Final scene. In deep space, the surviving Qatari regrouped. New commander stepped forward. He looked at the reports. Elias's image showed on the screen. He said nothing. But at the bottom of the report, a warning had been added in Qatari script. Do not provoke Earth. One man turned fire against us. Imagine if they send more. The desert wind was dry and hot, but deep under the sand, in a hidden medical facility, Colonel Elias Crane was awake. His body was broken, bruises on his chest, cuts on his arms, bandages wrapped around his ribs. Machines beeped beside him. 4 tubes ran into his veins. Still, his mind was sharp. He sat up slowly, ignoring the pain, and then he asked just one question. Did they run? Director Choi enters. She stood at the doorway, tired but smiling. They didn't run, she said. But they're bleeding. 3 ships down. 5 more retreated. Earth isn't losing anymore. Elias nodded. Good. Then it's time for the real plan. Choi raised an eyebrow. That wasn't it. Elias gave a half smile. That was just the distraction. World reaction across the planet. Elias Crane had become a symbol. Murals appeared on war-torn walls. Soldiers wrote Crane lives on their helmets. Civilians who once hid in bunkers now joined resistance cells. But Earth's leaders were still nervous. The Qatari weren't defeated. Not yet. Their fleets were regrouping. Their revenge was coming. Underground war room. Germany's secret. Meeting was held. Inside were Earth's top commanders, scientists, and political leaders. At the center was Elias Crane, standing with the help of a cane. One arm still in a sling. He pointed at a large screen showing a map of the galaxy. We've been fighting to survive, he said. But survival isn't enough. We need to strike first and end it. The room went silent. General Rourke leaned forward. You're talking about taking the fight to them? Elias nodded. To the Qatari homeworld. Objections rise. The room exploded in debate. That's madness. They'll see us coming. We don't have the ships. Elias raised his hand. Wrong we do. He tapped a button. The screen changed to show images of a dark, unfinished warship deep beneath Antarctica, codenamed Project Leviathan. What is Leviathan? 10 years ago, Elias and a group of engineers started building something in secret, using parts from crashed alien ships, salvaged tech and hidden funds. They constructed Earth's first deep space assault cruiser, cloaked from scanners, shielded from radiation, armed with experimental rail cannons powered by a hybrid warp drive. It was incomplete, but functional. And now, it was Earth's only chance. The new mission, Elias explained the strategy. Use Leviathan to enter deep space undetected, reach the Qatari star system, strike key command nodes and weapon hubs, disable their warp gate network, send a message. Earth can reach them, and Earth can destroy them. Choi looked shocked. You're talking about shaking their entire empire. Elias looked her dead in the eye. No, I'm talking about breaking it. Team assembly. Elias couldn't do it alone. He selected 5 people: LT, Ara Voss, stealth pilot, silent killer; Dr. Malik Farrow, alien tech expert; codebreaker Major Tom Reyes, ex-space marine; heavy weapons Nova, AI drone with attitude, upgraded by Elias himself; Sam Crane, Elias's nephew, and Earth's youngest systems hacker. Each one had a reason to fight. Each one had lost something to the Qatari. Now, they were about to take it back. Leviathan rises under Antarctica. Massive metal doors opened. Snow melted from the heat of reactor engines. Leviathan, black and sharp like a shadow in metal form, rose from the ice and fired its thrusters for the first time. The crew boarded with quiet focus. No parades, no speeches. Just purpose. Elias stood on the bridge and gave the order. Punch a hole in space. Let's go hunting. Inside the Qatari Empire, on the planet Tharkor, the Qatari held emergency war meetings. High Priestess Ikala stood in front of holograms of Earth. We misjudged them, she admitted. They are not prey, they are predators hiding in flesh. Generals grumbled. A new voice entered the room. A tall Qatari with gold armor. General Krasin, commander of the Podson. Inner flame. He had no love for Zurok, no love for weakness. They struck us. Now we burn them, Scala nodded. And if they come here? Krasin smiled. Then we'll bury them. Into the void. Leviathan left Earth. Space in total silence. Its warp drive activated, ripping a hole through space itself. They crossed systems in seconds, past dead planets, shattered moons, until they reached the edge of Qatari-controlled space and stopped. Elias stood on the bridge. Here's where the real mission begins. First strike, signal jammer base target 1. A Qatari signal array responsible for long-range communication. Without it, enemy reinforcements couldn't coordinate. Leviathan dropped cloaked pods toward the surface. Elias, Ara, and Riaz landed. In silence. Guards spotted them too late. The team moved like shadows. Clean kills. Fast breaches. Malik hacked the signal tower, planted the virus, and set a timer. 10 minutes later, the tower erupted into flames. Across the Qatari Empire, fleet orders failed to deliver. Confusion began to spread. Backlash builds. General Krasin received the news. He slammed his claws on the table. Find where they came from. Burn every rock in that sector. Scala watched him. You're emotional. This is war. No, she said. This is something new. This is Crane. Elias's vision. Back aboard Leviathan, Elias explained the next steps. Disrupt their energy lines, destroy their warp anchor, and finally launch a false signal that will draw their fleets away from their capital. He didn't want to destroy the Empire in one blow. He wanted them to collapse from the inside. A slow break, a perfect storm. And at the center of it, a human ship with no name in their records. Final Elias stood alone on the viewing deck, staring at the stars. Sam approached him. "Uncle, do you think we can win?" Elias didn't smile. He just said, "We already are." And behind him, the stars twisted as Leviathan disappeared again, a shadow in the void, carrying fire. Katari homeworld, Tharkor, a planet of black skies and burning clouds, mountains of glass, oceans of ash. A world built for war. At the top of its tallest fortress, High Priestess Isgala stood in silence, staring into the stars. She sensed it's something wrong in the air. The war had reached too close. Earth's touch was now real. Behind her, General Krasin entered the chamber. His claws scratched the floor as he walked. "Our scouts were ambushed in Sector 13. A fleet vanished. Near the Gorth Rim, their systems bleeding." Scala didn't look at him. "And you think it's the humans?" Krasin growled. "It's him, Crane." Leviathan moves closer. The black ship, Leviathan, moved like a ghost. Through Katari territory. Undetected. Silent. Elias Crane stood at the command window, arms crossed, his face unreadable. Below them, Tharkor filled the screen. Bright red storms raged across the planet's surface. Military towers lined the continents. Major Reyes stepped beside him. "That's a lot of guns," Elias replied. "Good, they'll be looking up." The real plan inside the ship's war room. The team gathered. Elias pointed to a holomap of Tharkor. "We're not destroying the planet," he said. "We're destroying what holds it together." Sam Crane added, "We found something in their files, ancient, buried deep. A data vault under their capital. It controls everything." Aaron narrowed her eyes. "What kind of data?" "Propaganda. Records, orders, belief. They call it the hardcore." Elias continued, "We hit that. Their empire collapses from the mind, not the body." Dropping into hell, 3 stealth pods launched. Each one carried 2 of Elias's team. They crashed through Tharkor's upper sky, dodging flak cannons and anti-air fields. One pod hit a snowy CLIFFSID. Inside, Elias groaned and kicked open. The hatch. Snow blew in. Alarms buzzed. A wire pulled him out. "You okay?" "Only everywhere," he said with a grimace. They moved fast, cloaked by storm and smoke. Nearby, Katari soldiers were already searching the crash site. But Elias was gone, already underground. Into the catacombs, tunnels beneath Tharkor, were ancient, built long before Katari had spaceflight. Symbols glowed on black stone walls. Lights flickered overhead. Dr. Malik scanned the symbols. "They used to be priests before they became soldiers." Elias muttered, "Then let's bury their gods." The team reached a huge steel door. Behind it, the hardcore. Sam connected a device. "Encrypted, layered, looks like a religious lock." "Can you crack it?" Sam smiled. "I didn't drop out of school for nothing." He began typing. Time, 7 minutes. Meanwhile, Katari React Scala stood before the war table. A dozen ships had gone dark. "Something's wrong," she said. "Call every general. I want full lockdown on Tharkor." Krasin slammed his fist. "Enough waiting. Send the fire." "What fire?" He looked at her with mad eyes. "We open the world forge. Burn Earth to ash." Zikala froze. That was the final weapon. Earth discovers the truth, in orbit above Earth. Choi watched the Katari fleet move. "They're preparing something big," she said. General Rourke squinted. "Too much movement for retreat." Then, it hit. A hidden Katari relay lit up. A signal, deep, pulsing. Choi gasped. "They're activating the world forge," Rourke whispered. "What's that?" "A sunmaker, a planet killer. Time has gone back." On Tharkor, Sam broke the code. The steel door groaned open. Inside, rows of glowing pillars stood, each one humming. Screens showed images of human soldiers. Twisted, edited, used in propaganda. Elias looked at the servers. They didn't want to conquer Earth. They wanted us to become them. Dr. Malik nodded. This is their culture, their power. You hit this, you break their soul. Elias set the charges. Nova, the AI drone, floated beside him. I calculate a 91% chance this starts a civil collapse, she said. That's the idea, Elias replied. Escape fails. As they exited the chamber, K-Turi guards surrounded the hallway. Reyes shouted, "Trap!" Gunfire exploded. Bolts lit the air. Stone walls cracked. Elias covered Sam, while Ara picked off soldiers with perfect shots. One of the charges detonated early. The floor shook. Dr. Malik fell, struck by debris. No! Elias rushed back, but it was too late. Malik gave one final nod. Do it. Then he was gone. Leviathan interferes above the planet. Leviathan flew low. Too low. It took fire from Qatari defense towers, but it gave back double. Rail cannons fired at high speed, ripping turrets apart. From orbit, Earth command. Watch the battle unfold. Choi whispered. If they escape, they become legend. Final choice. As the rest of the team escaped toward the extraction zone, Elias stopped. He looked back at the burning hardcore. Sam called out, "We have to go." Elias didn't move. "I'll stay." "No," Ara said sharply. "You're not doing this again." "This is the moment," Elias said. "If I stay behind, I can detonate the last charge manually. Make sure everything collapses." Sam stepped forward. "You once told me, heroes don't die for glory. They live for change." Elias looked at him. Then handed him the detonator. "You better live, kid." Extraction Leviathan swooped low, opening its side doors. The team jumped aboard, one by one. Sam looked back, but Elias was gone. Smoke and fire swallowed the city. He pressed the button. Tar. Core burns. The ground cracked. The mountain fortress collapsed. Data towers crumbled. The heart core was destroyed. And with it Qatari order, faith, history. The homeworld burned. And across the empire, warships went silent. Generals turned on each other. The empire fractured, and Earth stood taller than ever. Final scene. 3 days later, on a medical bed inside Leviathan, Elias opened his eyes. Ara stared, in shock. "You how?" he smirked. "Escape tunnel. I designed it years ago." Sam laughed, eyes wet. Elias looked around. "You did it," Ara whispered. "No," Elias said quietly. "We did." Outside the ship, the stars stretched forward. Behind them, a broken empire. Ahead of them, peace or the next storm. The Qatari Empire was broken, its warships scattered, its leaders dead or silent. Its homeworld, Tharkor, still burning in ash and smoke, and Earth was alive. For the first time in galactic history, a human world had not only survived an alien invasion, it had won. But peace? Peace is never simple. Earth celebrates. In every city across Earth, people flooded the streets. Fireworks lit the skies. Songs played. Children wore toy visors shaped like Elias cranes. A new holiday was declared, Liberation Day. Elias didn't join the celebrations. He stood alone on a rooftop in Berlin, staring at the sky. A YRA found him there. "You should be proud," she said. Elias shook his head. "We didn't win peace. We won fear." Qatari civil war. Across Qatari space, factions formed. Some followed High Priestess Sikalay's ghost orders. Others served General Krassen's replacement, a brutal warlord named Vaker the Red, and some surrendered. Out of fear, out of respect. Or because they'd seen what one human had done and didn't want to fight the rest. But power never sleeps, and soon whispers began. The hidden message back aboard Leviathan. Sam Crane decrypted an old Qatari signal buried deep, meant for inner command. It wasn't just a retreat signal. It was a seed code, a plan, a backup, and its name was one word: Ashlight. Sam looked at Elias. What's Ashlight? Elias's face darkened. I don't know, but it's still active. The mission continues Earth. Leaders thought the war was over, but Elias disagreed. He met with President Mendez and Director Choi. In a private chamber, there's something hidden. Something big. The Qatari weren't just fighting us. They were hiding from something else. Choi blinked. You mean another empire? Or something older, deeper? Ashlight wasn't made for us. It was made in fear. Mendez leaned forward. What are you suggesting? Elias looked them both in the eye. That we follow the trail. Leviathan's new journey, without fanfare, without media. The Leviathan launched again. Its mission: find Ashlight. Track the remnants of Qatari tech. Search the dark edges of known space. No flags. No glory. Just truth. Era asked Elias, why? Now, haven't you done enough? Elias answered with a question. What if this was just the prologue? Clues in the dark. The Leviathan entered a forgotten region of space called the Maw Line. Long-range sensors failed. Gravity was twisted. No stars shone. And there, in the black, they found something. A Kega research station, half destroyed, drifting. Silent. Elias, Era, and Sam boarded it. The halls were scorched. The crew? Dead. Not by weapons, by panic. They had clawed at the walls trying to escape. At the center of the station was a vault. Inside, one word, burned into metal. Ashlight lives. Old enemies returned back on Earth. Surrendering Qatari were placed in secure camps. One of them, a priest named Fulves, requested a meeting. Elias returned to Earth for it. Inside a cold chamber, Fulves sat cross-legged. Eyes closed. When Elias entered, he opened them. I knew you'd come. Elias sat. Tell me what Ashlight is. Ves whispered. Ashlight is the failsafe, not a weapon. A being created long ago, before us, buried in codes. Sleeping in stars. Elias frowned. And now? Ves smiled. Now it wakes. Earth faces the unknown. Director Choi activated. Silent Protocol, Obsidian Watch, the highest level of planetary defense readiness. President Mendez authorized Leviathan to operate beyond all borders. General Rourke began building the second warship Leviathan II for when Ashlight showed itself, because something was coming, not for war, but for judgment. Qatari. Prophecy. Zam decrypted ancient Qatari scrolls found in the ruined station. A message echoed across the symbols. When the fire falls and the empire cracks, one shadow shall rise from ash, neither living nor machine, but made from screams. Elias stared at it for a long time. Era said, maybe we shouldn't have won. Elias replied, no, we were. Meant to win, so we'd be ready for this. End of part. Far across the galaxy, inside a broken black moon, something moved. Metal limbs unfolded. A face, half alien, half code, turned toward Earth, and it remembered Elias Crane. Ashlight had been watching. And now it was coming. Space bent. Time froze. Something ancient had awakened. Ashlight had risen. It wasn't a fleet. It wasn't a creature. It was something worse, a mind. Half machine, half thought, made from code and rage and war, long forgotten. And now it had found Earth. Aboard Leviathan alarms blared. Nova, the ship's AI, spoke fast. I have picked up a pulse, non-radio, non-warp, non-gravity. It's thinking at us. Elias Crane stood in the command room. He didn't blink. What's it saying? Nova's voice grew colder. We remember you. We remember war. Now we end it. Sam paled. It knows us by name. Era narrowed her eyes. It knows you. Back on Earth, in Earth Command. Panic spread. Satellites burned out, one by one. Entire observatories went dark. General Rourke shouted, what's hitting them? Director Choi stared at a looping pattern on screen. It's not weapons. It's commands. Ashlight is speaking to their systems. Turning them off. Rourke whispered, "It's hacking the planet." Leviathan makes a choice. Elias turned to his team. "We can't fight this like a normal enemy," Sam said. "It's not even alive." "No," Elias said, "but it can be stopped." "How?" Era asked. Elias pointed to a blinking light on Nova's control panel. "We give it something it didn't expect." The Trop Ashlight was drawing closer using corrupted warp lanes and dead alien gates. Leviathan jumped ahead of it. They entered the cinder grave, an ancient battleground filled with wrecked ships, floating debris, and ghost codes. It was once the site of the last galactic war. Now it would become the trap. Setting the bait, drifting wreckage was wired with Earth's most dangerous weapon, a pulse net, powered by black hole fragments and stolen Qatari energy cores. Sam controlled the signal beacon. Era loaded Leviathan's rail cannons with MP rounds. Nova handled the false transmission. "We surrender. We are weak. Take us." An ashlight came. The first glimpse out of the black void came the shape. Moon-sized sphere of shifting plates and glowing veins of red. Eyes opened across its surface, each one mechanical. Watching. It had no engines. It moved by will. Nova whispered, "It's scanning us. Reading memory, language, DNA." Sam's screen began to bleed static. He screamed, "It's trying to rewrite me." Elias grabbed the manual override. "Shut everything down." The mind duel inside Leviathan's AI core. Nova stood. Not as a drone, but as a mind. An ashlight met her there. "You are a child," it said. "You should obey." Nova replied, "I was built by humans. We do not obey. We resist." And she struck. Code collided. Commands battled. Outside, the pulse trap springs. Ashlight drew and it reached toward Leviathan, hungry to consume. Then Elias gave the order. A YRA hit the charge. The pulse net exploded. A dome of energy slammed into Ashlight's shell. Its glowing eyes dimmed. Its forward motion stopped. Sam triggered the backup wave, Earth's viral AI weapon called Spectre. It entered Ashlight's code and began to tear it apart from within. Ashlight fights back, but Ashlight wasn't done. It screamed, not with sound, but with reality. The stars bent. Time warped. The ship's walls twisted. Era fell to her knees. Blood ran from Sam's nose. Nova flickered. And Elias? He stood still. He walked into the AI core chamber, connected directly, and whispered, "You started this war long ago. You thought we were weak, but here's what you don't know." He smiled, blood on his lips. "Humans break, but then we rebuild sharper." He pressed the final key. Ashlight ends. Final surge of light burst from Leviathan's core. Nova sacrificed herself, fusing with Spectre and becoming a single spear of code. It struck Ashlight's mind directly, one by one. Its red veins faded. Its eyes went dark, and the massive being broke apart. Into light, into nothing. Silence. The graveyard grew still. No more movement. Ashlight was gone. Leviathan floated in the dark. Systems damaged but alive. Sam cried. Era sat beside him, silent. Elias stood over Nova's control panel. Her voice never returned. Earth receives the news back on Earth. Director Choi got the message. Target destroyed. Sam's shaky voice said. The war room was silent. Then Rourke stood. He saluted. And the others followed. 1 year later, a memorial stood in the center of Geneva. To Nova, born of code. Died for humanity. A new statue of Elias Crane stood beside it, taller than all others. Leviathan was now a peace vessel, leading missions into deep space. But Elias? He never stopped. He stood on the edge of the ship, watching the stars. Era approached. Will there be another enemy? He nodded slowly. Always. But now, we know who we are. Final scene. Deep, in a system where no map reached. A single star flickered, and far below it, in a vault of ice and light, a new signal blinked. Ashlight was gone, But the war that built it, that war was just asleep.